Samadevas are Bulgarian water spirits, closely related to other Slavic spirits of nature, like Rizalki or Boginki. Samadevas, on the other hand, although attributed to many natural phenomena among Slavic tribes, in Bulgaria they took your classic water spirit turn. In Czech, Russia, Ukraine and Poland, Samadevas are also known, but much less so than other typical nature spirits. Bulgarian people claim they are the forces of nature personified and as such can be both benevolent and destructive, can both save your life and kill you with equal ease, but most are looked upon fondly and believed that as long as you honor and respect them, they shall return the favor. Some people link them to Serbian vilas, but in opposite to them, there is no evidence that would suggest that Samadevas can shapeshift or fly like vilas do. Samadevas are often attributed with great healing powers and incredible knowledge about plants and herbs that can be used in medicine, with some going as far as credit the beings with teaching humanity the medicinal value of plants.
Vodyanoi is Bulgarian equivalent to Polish Wodnik and a local version of Aquarius. Often labeled as water demon or water spirit, they are not demons in Christian sense, but instead originate as spirits of nature. Often appearing as half-man half-fish, but more so as a naked, heavy-set man with a belt of seaweed and a hat of rushes, this being is a guardian of water sources, both natural and man-made. Others describe him as a short humanoid with green hair. His appearance varied so much that many scholars attribute the contradictory descriptions to his seemingly limitless shape-shifting abilities, which to some degree most water spirits possess. Many beekeepers, fishers and sailors used to make sacrifices to Vodyanoi, as it was said that when angered by transgressions or ignorance of humans, the being was strong enough to break dams and flood whole villagers. The being was said to hunt for humans, by luring them near his abode with a colorful ribbon tied somewhere nearby, then snatching the poor human to be dragged into his underwater kingdom and used as a free labor forever. Aside from taking multiple humanoid shapes, the entity is known for transforming into a giant fish, or even inanimate objects like a floating log, all in order to trick and kidnap his unlucky victims, of course.
The Vodinkinja is a peculiar water spirit of Croatian mythology, a female equivalent to the Aquarius and at times straightforward described as his wife. While most Aquariuses of Slavic mythology are ambivalent towards humans and only harm them upon offense or tree spacing, the female water spirits are much more malevolent and they seem to actively hunt humans. Most of them sport gray or green skin, sometimes ghastly or translucent, with seaweed in their hair, but if they want to, they can also appear as beautiful, alluring women, to lure men to themselves, when they attack, drown and devour them. Sometimes, the Vodinkinja and the Vodyanoi are working side by side, hunting together and luring many people into their hunting grounds, to drown them and force them into slavery, mating or serving as a living food source. The Zmei, also known as Zmij, was a Pan-Slavic dragon spirit who, similarly to Chinese dragons, was considered benevolent, bringing rain and riches to those who favored him. Although Poland, Ukraine and Russia all share the legends about this benevolent dragon, the myth of his prominence is the most widespread among the Czech. Sometimes shown as a sea serpent, other times pictured as winged and many-headed dragon, this shape-shifting water spirit could take human form to seduce and mate with human women. All children born from an union of a human woman and the mighty dragon were human but possessed innumerable strength and often fought in wars against evil spirits to protect human world from them, showing their supernatural heritage. Zmei himself was a mighty warrior, often portrayed in legends as fighting against the malicious dragon of fire and drought, and upon his victory, the agricultural society of Old Slavs could be blessed with necessary rainfall to feed their crops. Some legends speak of him as being able to assume as many different forms and shapes as he wanted to, often visiting earthly people in the form of a bird, or showing up in more reptilian form as a humanoid man covered in sparse scales. Many Czech people also considered him to be a powerful benefactor and prayed to him for money and wealth. Others believe he is the guardian of justice and that he uses snakes, who were believed to be his minions and followers, to punish criminals and wrongdoers. As frightening and awe-inspiring as Zmei is, he is a kind reminder that not all our European ancestors saw dragons as dangerous and evil. Some, like Zmei, were benevolent defenders. Boginki, literally translated as little goddesses, are malevolent water spirits from Slavic folklore, both appearing as ugly old hags and more often, as beautiful, alluring maidens. Some claim they are a subspecies of Rusalka, while others believe they are vastly different beings that only share their malevolent nature and habitat. Most of them had an exotic for Slavic standards physique, with black hair, dark eyes, and copper-tinted skin, contrasting with bright hair, eye, and skin colors of native Slavs at the time. They were often visible doing laundry with their bare hands and special wooden sticks, and if someone wandered too close to their domain, it's most often that wooden stick they used to beat the unfortunate wanderer to death. Boginki's malice didn't end there. It was said they could kidnap human newborns in order to replace them with their own changelings, similar to Irish fae. Such inhuman child would be often misbehaved, ugly and, sadly, very often killed by the villagers. It was said that these spectral ladies could also kidnap human women and force them to rear their demonic babies and possess women who just gave birth in order to torment them and had to be literally beaten out of the body of the possessed woman. Alternatively, they could torment a mother of a newborn child, until Fui finally kill her, just to take her baby away and raise them as one of their own. Boginki were also blamed for destruction of the crops, scaring horses when drinking from the water source and other such activities. All in all, they weren't looked at fondly by my Slavic ancestors.
The Twazona is a name equally peculiar for Polish people, as it is for the Forginners, as it can literally translate to a strange wife or a wild wife. These water spirits were said to be wrathful and vengeful and didn't have the positive qualities of Rakas or other polyular Slavic spirits. They could appear in youthful and beautiful form to lure young men to them, but their most frequently used form was that of an old woman with huge, saggy breasts, so huge they could suffocate their victims with them. They inhabited all manner of water sources, from mountain streams, to rivers, to small ponds, and regardless of the size of their watery abode, were equally dangerous in each. Reoccurring theme with Twazonas was that they kidnap human children and replace them with evil and misshapen, often handicapped and malformed, changelings, which was most likely used as an explanation for giving birth to deformed children, and sadly, such offspring attributed to Twazonas working didn't live neither long, nor happy life. Often such suspected changelings were taken to crossroads and whipped mercilessly until it is taken by its supposed real mother. Most of the time, the child just dies though. It was said that if a new mother ties a ribbon around the hand of a newborn baby, she will prevent the malevolent demon from taking her child away. It's unknown whether it worked or not. These scary beings weren't born as demons, though. On the contrary, most of these creepy entities used to be human, who do what they do not out of malice, but because they in their earthly lives died far before they could have or cuddle their first baby, and so they kidnap human babies to fill the void they always feel.
The Rusalkas are known to every Slavic country and tribe, not only Poland, but since in Poland they are very popular, I shall lump them into Polish water spirits category. But of course countries like Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and so on all speak of the same entities, giving them the same name, history, and attributes. Rusalkas could be forest-dwelling, meadow-dwelling, or water-dwelling, but the latter became the most widely known in pop culture and became synonymous with Rusalkas as a whole. Rusalkas of all categories were only female spirit, always beautiful, slender and alluring, with long, often brightly colored, flowing hair, scantily clad or naked, and were always associated with the dangerous powers of the wild nature their respective subspecies possesses. A popular belief claimed that many young maidens who died before being wed could become Rusalkas. This belief led many to believe these spirits seduce and kidnap young, handsome men, or that they can lure them into a dance that the man will not come out alive from, or alternatively, tick the poor lad to death. Regardless of the method in which the nature spirits would kill their potential mate, the Rusalkas were as seductive as they were dangerous and were said to change their appearance from that of an otherworldly beautiful women, into ugly reptilian or fish-like hags with green skin. Whether or not these spirits could take more forms is unknown. It seems like each Rusalka's appearance is based on the element over which she presides, with earth Rusalkas being more mature and dark-haired and water Rusalkas showing more youthful appearance with light or blonde hair.
Although Poland doesn't have its own mermaid lore or mythology, like other countries do, there is one legend that is closely tied to the origin of the capital, Warsaw. The tale of the Mermaid of Warsaw is not as popular now as it used to be, and it's the only Polish account about mermaids, known locally as Sireny. Long ago, the legend says, Warsaw was a rich fishing city, but its waters were filled by another marine creature, less fish-like and more supernatural. One of these mermaids swam all the way from the Baltic Ocean, and when reaching the shore of the city, she was exhausted and needed a rest. The mermaid was enamored by the beautiful city, and likewise, the city dwellers were enchanted by the mermaid. Only local fishermen plotted to get rid of her, as they accused her of taking away their fish, but when they heard her tearful song, they were so touched, then decided to let her live. The mermaid song was so beautiful that all the local animals went out from their hiding to listen to the enchanting sound. But the pretty mermaid's wonderful voice could be her downfall as well. A rich seller heard her song and decided to make money out of it. He lured the beautiful creature to him and imprisoned her in a wooden box, forcing her to sing for him, so he can get money out of the enchanted listeners. But the mermaid's heart was broken and longed for freedom. At nights, she cried from pain and sorrow, until a young son of a local fisherman was walking nearby and heard her cries. The young man's heart was moved with the creature's pain, and so he freed her, and the salesman who captured her was later found and killed by him. Hence, avenged and free, the mermaid returned to the waters. According to the legend, this is the reason as to why Warsaw, Poland's capital, has an image of a sword-wielding mermaid in their coat of arms. The legend of the Mermaid of Warsaw is a sorrowful reminder that not all non-human spirits were out for blood. Some, like the innocent mermaid, just wanted love and freedom.
The Topelica, literally, the drowned woman, is a malevolent, or vengeful spirit of a woman who died prematurely by the means of drowning in the water, be it by herself or as a murder victim. Unable to find rest, the spirit of the drowned woman wanders through the mogs, lakes, rivers and wilderness, searching for people unlucky enough to come across her. Regardless of how the Topelica appeared in her earthly life, after becoming the spirit, they always turn into seductive temptresses, who lure unsuspecting men and women alike with their otherworldly allure, straight into a watery grave. It's unknown what was the modus operandi of these water-human demons. It's possible that Topulice only chased and lured the people who wronged them in life, or it's equally possible they hunted random innocent people as well. A victim lured into Topelica's claws, be it by her alluring presence, her enchanting voice of fake cries for help, always ended up grasped and dragged underwater. And because these spirits possessed unnatural strength, not much could save a victim from her grasp. The Topelica were all women, but Old Slavic folklore does recognize the male variety of these mischievous spirits, called utopes, literally the drowned men who operated more or less the same as their female counterparts. The utopic were much more like the Aquarius rather than mischievous water nymphs, but the danger they posed was pretty much the same, with one exception that male spirits also endanger animals, while Topelica spirits mostly attack humans. The drowned men were also said to originate both from the male victims of drowning, as well as from the souls of stillborn babies, while Topelicas have never been linked with stillbirths, nor with souls of non-adult women.
Wodnik is a popular Polish water spirit or locally regarded as water deity. Translated as Aquarius, this male entity's description vary from one source to another. He was a caretaker, caregiver, guardian and a lord and ruler of all the water-dwelling creatures, from the fish to amphibians, frogs and newts and such. He could control them and command them, and if a human mistreats them, also avenge them. Sometimes, the Aquarius was considered a male version of Topelica, or the drowned woman, but most legends speak of him as of a separate entity that was never human to begin with. Wodnik's reign did not restrict to large natural bodies of water only. The specimen of this spiritual entity could live in the wells, artificial waterways, water pipes and ponds alike. And in all of these places, if wronged, they possessed a significant threat. Aquarius could kidnap and drown people. He could keep their imprisoned souls down in his watery kingdom as slave force. They could enslave them forever or barrage in with the human spirits in order to set a release date and what they will get in exchange to work for the entity. But if appeased, the spirit could grant the worshipper with riches, such as gold, but such accounts are scarce and most tales speak of Aquarius's kidnapping and drowning animals, cattle and humans who dared to cross into his domain. Vodnik could also control weather phenomena, especially related to rains and storms. A folk belief said that when it rains heavily, it's two Aquariuses sword fighting each other. Some accounts speak of them as of womanizers, who akin to Rakas, seek human contact for mating purposes, but unlike Rakas who target men, the Aquariuses chase, mate with and impregnate women in order to procreate with them and then, when the child is born, steal their offspring to take them back into the water. The appearance of these water spirits vary, and while some accounts describe them as human-looking, just shorter, more stocky and with weeds in hair, other legends describe him as amphibian-like or fish-like humanoids who could only be mistook for humans if viewed from behind. Whether Aquarius is a shape-shifting entity who can model his body as he wishes, or are there multiple types of Vodnik spirit, each with unique characteristics, is unknown.
Not all water spirits are beautiful. The Russians believed in Shilikuni, a deeply malevolent, fat, old water hags with saggy breasts made of iron, who could hunt as efficiently on land as they would in the water. Most of water spirits on this list are either ambivalent, benevolent, or malevolent in tragic way. Well, this being is a huge exception. They are evil, and not because they died a horrible death or have been wronged in life. They're just evil 'cause they hate humans. They rest and live in cracks of icy walls and ice sheets on the seas and frozen waters, but their affinity to water does not take away from their affinity and uncanny ability to manipulate and create fire. They leave footprints akin to hooves of a goat or a horse and are said to spin the yarn on the wheels, when these are left during the night. But that's when the good heart of this being ends. Most of its time they spend hunting, kidnapping and devouring people, especially children. These beings are essentially what you get if you take the Zuwazona, Baba Yaga, and your good old concept of the folkloric devil, and you get this being. They just do everything to not be liked, do they?
The Bolotnik is a Russian equivalent to the Vodnik or Vodyanoi that instead of in open waters or rivers, prefers living in mogs, muddy waters, and dirty ponds, hence his name translating as the mudder. The being is a skilled shapeshifter and can adapt all types of forms, while his most favored seem to be a fat man with frog-like eyes, green beard and long hair, as well as grotesque and bald, eyeless humanoid foraging at the muddy bottoms of the water sources he inhabits. This swamp-dwelling spirit is ambivalent towards humans most of the time, but it tends to perceive them as a prey as well and appears to hunt humans on rare occasions. To lure them, he would mimic duck quacking sounds or a person calling for help, like some hairy, swampy, fat, frog-eyed skinwalker. They are said to relish in the slow demise of their victims. Instead of quickly drowning them like most water spirits, the mudder will slowly drag them into swampy mud, acting like a quicksand, when the poor victim is ever conscious and frightened until their very last breath. In neighboring Ukraine, there is a belief that instead of a murderer, this being is a trickster, who lures people into a seemingly innocent party in a hut, drugs them and gives them gifts, only for the poor victims to find out, once sober again, that the gifts are worthless rocks and pieces of mud and the lush party was indeed a dampy muddy swamp they are stuck on. Either way, this being is surely not the one you'd want to meet on your nightly strolls through your neighboring mogs.
The Vilas, also known as Wilas, or Samavilas, are widely known among the Slavs, with the most accounts about them coming from Serbian folk stories. They are female nature spirits, similar to Rakas, but with a few key differences. One of them is that they are usually depicted helping the literary heroes, akin to Norse Valkyries, and are said to only harm or kill humans if offended by them. Another key difference is Vilas' ability to shapeshift. As powerful nature spirits, they are able to transform into various animals, According to their individual nature, velos were grouped into three main types, and each of them had characteristical feats that differentiated them from others. Water velos could turn into seabirds or fish. Air velos could shapeshift into various birds like swans or falcons, while forest-dwelling velos could turn into wolves and foxes. No matter the type, velos had wings that they could grow or contract at will. Most air velos had white falcon wings, but webbed fairy-like insect wings were also common, in sharp contrast to similar beings like rocas, boginkas or the Aquarius. These creatures are only hostile to humans if crossed by them, but just like their more well-known cousins, they too can become deadly when they want to.